Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, the chairman of BEC has some news that probably won't sit too well with the unions representing workers there. An F&M senator weighing in on the Venezuelan oil debate, plus the government plans to launch a study into the new Providence Road Improvement Project once it's complete. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and NB12 starts right now. Well, welcome once again to NB12. As the government seeks to find ways to lower electricity costs for Bahamian consumers, one of the ways it plans on passing on savings is by cutting millions of dollars in overtime for employees at the Bahamas Electricity Corporation. BEC Chairman Leslie Miller said the corporation is also going after people who steal electricity. Vani Toot reports.
BEC Chairman Leslie Miller says government is determined to save $10 million over the next year by eliminating what he called excessive overtime pay. He expects BEC to begin cutting overtime payments within the next 6 months. Miller says the government-run corporation pays out more than $1 million in overtime each month, adding that between 20 and 30 BEC workers take home as much as $60,000 in overtime in 1 year. He says that's higher than some of their base salaries.
It is imperative that the management, the staff of BEC and the board be on the same page. We don't want any fight with the union, but I think as we attempt to deal with the union, their contract is up now. We simply tell both unions, the management and the workers' union, you are Bahamians, we are Bahamians. The Bahamas Electricity Corporation is owned by the people of the Bahamas. So whatever savings we can generate is for all of our benefits.
BEC has nearly 1,000 employees. He says if the corporation cuts overtime payments, it can create desperately needed jobs.
If you're talking overtime, the first thing that comes to mind, well, if these guys need all this overtime, it means that you need more people to be employed. In the slow market in the Bahamas now, we need to create jobs. We will also be creating jobs to eliminate some of that overtime. Obviously, if one fella payroll, say his base pay is $40,000 a year, but you find at the end of the year that this particular department, maybe generation or what have you, one man is making $60,000 a year in overtime.
It can't happen, really?
Hello?
The corporation also hopes to save millions of dollars by cracking down on people who steal electricity. Miller estimates that BEC loses about $500,000 each month thanks to residents and business owners who get their electricity supply through illegal means. That's $6 million a year.
We're going to put a department together that was there before. That department was specifically earmarked to go in and read meters, physically read meters. For example, your light may be off today. You can connect from the back of your meter, your light on. It could be on for months. And unless you have a team in place, a team that's going to go and physically check your meter, you could get free electricity. And that has happened very many times. It's happening as we speak.
The BEC chairman says 12 people will be placed in that department. He says New Providence will be split into 4 zones and officials will check meters on a regular basis. After bringing down the corporation's costs, Miller hopes to pass those savings on to consumers who often complain of high electricity bills.
I think if you ask the average Bahamian, and you should, what is the biggest headache that you face in your life today? They will tell you crime and BEC. I'm serious. So that's really how I feel.
So it's really a matter of people being honest with themselves.
Yeah, it's crime and then it's BEC, because the BEC bill has in most cases become a second mortgage.
Miller says BEC's board is determined to save money any way it can. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vani Toot.
Well, former Minister of State for Finance Shavar Galang today warning the government to be cautious of any sort of deal with Venezuela over lower oil prices. Yesterday, top U.S. official at the U.S. Embassy, Alex Sokoloff, warned the Bahamas about deepening economic ties with that country, saying that there is no such thing as cheaper oil. Our Charisma Robinson reports.
Weighing in on the issue today, Lang told NB12 that Sokolov was right when he said that there is no such thing as cheaper oil. Yesterday, Sokolov was responding to consistent comments from the chairman of the Bahamas Electricity Corporation, Leslie Miller, on his intention to court Venezuela and broker more favorable terms for oil. Miller has highlighted the benefit of long-term arrangements to improve the efficiency of the system and fix the country's costs.
Well, I think the important thing is that what Venezuela has offered in the way of the Petro-Carib facility is not a reduced price of oil. It really is a loan to be able to purchase oil. Because if you buy $50 million worth of oil, they're going to allow you to pay for it over a period of time at an interest rate. So you got to pay the $50 million and you have to pay the interest rate. So that doesn't necessarily translate into reduced prices. And I think that that's a part of the warning. The issue about the political ties, I think, is real. There is no question that that President Chavez is doing that as a part of his outreach into the Caribbean for political strength. I mean, but that's what others have done in the past and continue to do too.
Lang says Miller's talks with Venezuela may end up useless in the long run.
Honestly, I don't know what the issue is as to why Mr. Miller went down there. I think he will have to do some explaining about that himself. But you know, the point is, I don't think that the Petro-Carib issue is going to be taken up by this administration. I'd be surprised, but you know.
Why do you say that?
Because I think they have sense. I think they have sense, and I think that good sense would tell them that that's not the thing for us to be messing with.
Miller said yesterday that Bahamians should appreciate that the country already buys a great deal of its fuel from Venezuela. He also said that he has no wish to accumulate high debt from the Southern American country. Now, when it comes to the issue of oil drilling, Miller told our news team earlier in the week that he thought the government should review Bahamas Petroleum Company, as he doesn't think it has the right track record to dig for oil in the Bahamas. The government recently wrote to BP outlining the compliance status for their 5 licenses. Lang also weighed in on that matter.
Well, I don't know the Bahamas Petroleum Company. I don't know about it. I don't know it to have any significant track record either. But any entity that the government is looking at to do any kind of business in the Bahamas, be it oil drilling or something else, that the government owes it to the population of the Bahamas to do the kind of due diligence that satisfies itself that it is doing business or seeking to do business in the Bahamas, a credible entity. And on the oil drilling front or any oil front, that is especially necessary. I think that the preliminary investigations and inquiries have been done to say there is no issue that would have prevented the giving of exploratory license. But as to whether you go further with that, that's a different story altogether.
Lang says caution is necessary when it comes to people operating in this country. Reporting for NB12, I'm Charisma Robinson.
Well, the FNM criticizing the government's recent diplomatic appointments, accusing the PLP of tribalism, cronyism, and nepotism. FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis said in a statement released today that Prime Minister Perry Christie has resorted to resurrecting the careers of retirees rather than employing or appointing younger Bahamians to key government positions. He's referring to the recent appointments of Dr. Eugene Uri as ambassador to the United Nations, Alma Adams as ambassador to the Republic of Cuba, and Ed Bethel as High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Each have previously held diplomatic posts. Dr. Minnis said the Bahamas should be fostering a brand new generation of diplomats.